So I also wanted to make this video because the rise of children with gastroschisis has gone up, and also, like I said, because I have been very open with Shalom's story. I know a lot of people are already very invested. I wanted to make this video for the ones that actually care, of course. Thanks to all my friends and family who have been checking on us constantly, because I feel like people tend to forget that we all, like everybody in this household, is kind of going through it. And obviously everything is focused on Shalom, and that's our main focus. But thank you also for the ones that care about our well-being and our mental state as well, because it is very tough going through situations like the ones that we're going through right now. And like I said, it hits everyone in the house. So back in June, Shalom was going to his grandma's house with all my kids. They were gonna go to their grandma's, and when he got there, I remember he had ate some McDonald's, and we have not had any McDonald's for the kids ever since. I mean, I don't eat it myself, but he basically had some nuggets, and he ended up getting sick, and he went to his grandma's house, and the day that he got there, he had diarrhea, he had thrown up, and then at nighttime he got a fever. Okay, so that was that. So we're thinking, okay, he has a stomach bug. That's automatically what you're gonna think about, right? Hours went by, and his stomach got kind of hard and got a little bit big, and then it started getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So I was like, what the heck? My mother-in-law was calling me on the phone, and she's like, look at his stomach, it's getting bigger, I don't know what to do. And then I was like, really? And then she's like, no, like if you saw it in person, you would be extremely alarmed, because FaceTime is not doing it any justice. So I was like, okay. So I went, and my best friend Kelly, she also lives in Georgia along with my whole family, but I called her and I said, hey Kels, go over there, go check to my mother-in-law's house and go check on Shalom. So she goes, checks on Lomi, and Lomi's what we call him. So she goes and checks on Lomi. She calls me on FaceTime, and she's like, Jackie, no, his stomach is so distended, he has a pot belly. Like, it's so big, look, like it's like deformed on the side, even from the back. And I was like, are you serious? And she was like, yeah. She's like, we need to take him to the hospital. Like, this is not normal. So I was like, okay, yeah, take him to the hospital. Like, they take him to the hospital, and right as soon as they take him to the hospital, they automatically do his vitals and they take him straight to trauma, because they said that his oxygen was so low. They admitted him right away, and they showed us his stomach, and his stomach again was so enlarged, and it was pushing that against all his other organs. They said that he was in so much pain, and that had pushed his other organs. His oxygen was low, and then they said that they were going to have to do an NG tube again, so they can decompress and start taking out whatever is inside his stomach. So they told us that he had something called an ileus, right? Some sort of like bacterial infection or something, but it had done that to his body. He was admitted for like 7 days. So we're just there, and they would try to give him some food, and then it would like kind of get back to big again, and then back down, and then that's what they were trying to wait for it to go down, so basically he can start eating again. So all that time he didn't eat. Towards the very end is when they would give him a little bit of food, his stomach would get distended, and then it would slowly go back down. And it was like that every single day, and they tried to give him just a tiny bits, and then finally it went back to normal, and then they discharged him. Okay, so when I compared the x-rays, like, guys, everything looks exactly the same except the outside. So the x-rays from June and the x-rays from this time being at the hospital with him, everything looks exactly the same, except that he's skinnier. So I'm like so confused, because I'm like, how does it look exactly the same? But last time he had a pot belly, this time he doesn't. And then everything just looks totally normal. I was just going in for weight loss. Last time I thought when they had admitted him that his stomach had gone back down to normal size. His waist was tiny again, no pot belly, and he was able to eat again, right? Okay, so that's what happened in June, and then this was what was happening now, and everything looked the same, right? So I was like, oh my God, whenever he had the ileus, it just did that to his body. So now let's take it back to February, right? So in February, Shalom had developed some sort of cyst-like thing on his lower back, which I'm also going to show you photos of. He had developed a cyst, or what looked like a cyst. It was a bump. It was a bump, and then like a week after, he developed the second bump. So it was on his spine, on his lower spine. And I was like, what in the world is this? So I went to the doctor, and I went to my pediatrician, and they had to send a referral, and I took him to the hospital. They did it was like some sort of, I don't know if it was like a CT scan or an ultrasound. I don't remember exactly what it was. I have everything noted. I just, you know, it's a lot. So they came back and they said there was nothing to worry about, because it wasn't connected to the spine. It was on the outside. They never did a biopsy, which I was like, why would they not do a biopsy? You know, I was a little confused about that, but I said, okay, if they are telling me that it looks fine, then okay, that's fine. Fast forward to the hospital visit now, right? Here comes another doctor, and he was looking at the x-rays coming back from when I went to check that lump on his back. And he sits there and he tells me, he's like, I went to see that you were once here in February, and we went to go and I saw that they did some sort of scan or x-ray or something of his back, his lower back. And so I was looking at it, and you can see that his stomach has always been this big. So I'm like, how is this normal? You know, how is that even normal? Like, why did they not question this back in February? So you're checking for the lump on his back. I get that you guys are targeting something that I came in for, but if you see something else that's crazy, why are you not voicing it? Why are you not telling me anything? So I was like, I was really upset. I was really upset. And then basically he even said, you know, when they first brought him in, they did the x-rays, and when they finally got the x-rays back, that's when like everybody in the emergency room for the pediatrician, the hospital, children's hospital, whatever, they were all in such shock that they all went to go look at the x-ray, because they were like, oh my God, I cannot believe his tummy is so big. Like everything is like the way everything is inside. They couldn't believe it, hence why they were doing so many tests in a short amount of time. So if this is so crazy and alarming and like, oh my God, this is so not normal, what we're used to, why did you guys not say anything back in February? You know, so I'm led to believe that his stomach was distended in June because of the ileus, and then I'm thinking it just got back again like that this time, except he doesn't have a pot belly. Getting back to when he got the ileus in June, right? Kelly came to check on him, and he was playing, he was jumping around and everything with his big old pot belly like nothing. Then they take him to the hospital and they go straight to trauma, right? And they say that he's in an immense amount of pain. So you mean to tell me that if he was in that much pain then they were talking to me this time and they said he's in a lot of pain. Like there's no way he is in a lot of pain. So you mean to tell me that Shalom has been in this much pain this entire time? Since I don't know, since he was a little baby, basically, he's been in so much pain. And I'm like, because nothing has changed, you know, I don't know when he developed his stomach, when his stomach developed like that. Like, I don't know. So there's moments sometimes that he's in the room and that he'll be playing, and then sometimes he starts to cry. And I said that in my last video, that there's times that he cries and he cries and he cries. So now I'm questioning everything. So I'm like, is he crying because he's in so much pain and I just didn't know? Is he crying just because he's crying and he's autistic? Like, these are just like a million questions like going through my mind. And it's like such a, it was so much. Like, it was so much. It was so shocking. And I know that autistic children tend to mask their pain. So like I said, when my friend Kelly was checking on him, he was playing, he was laughing, he was cracking up, jumping, rolling around, and nothing, but he was in so much pain. And it just really crushes my heart to know, again, this time I decided to take him to the hospital because he didn't have his insurance, and they're doing all these tests, which I feel like that was for a reason. Like, this happened for a reason. I was supposed to take him to the hospital. I was supposed to have, like, maybe, like, you know, like, I took it as his weight loss. Like, he can't tell me he doesn't feel good. He can't tell me his tummy hurts. He can't tell me he can't go to, like, the bathroom or something. He can't tell me anything. So him losing all this weight was basically, to me, his body screaming, I'm not okay. Like, that was, that to me, that was like literally his voice telling me, mommy, I'm not okay, take me to the hospital. It's so stressful to know that there's a possibility, or not even, that he has been in pain for a long time. So it makes me even think, like, is this why he had bangs so much, like to soothe himself? Like, just so many things come into question when I found this out. So next day comes by and they're doing more x-rays, and finally, once noon hits, a couple hours after noon, I would say, they finally got a room for us upstairs, and then we headed up there. So I was like, okay, finally, you know, because obviously if we're gonna be here and admitted, you know, I can lay down, he has more space, whatever the case may be. I met the nurse when I got up there. I had to explain to her my situation. I told her I'm a mother of 4, my husband works, I have no family here, therefore what can we come up with as far as that goes? Because when he was in Atlanta, even when he was in the NICU, you know, you have the sitters, or you have, you know, the nurses that are taking care of the babies and all that stuff. Obviously they know, everybody knows that, like, if a child is going to be admitted and is going to be for a long period of time, you, like, a parent can't, everybody has a life, so we have to come up with some sort of parental plan, right? So at the beginning, I'm like, I'm gonna be here until I can't be here anymore. But once my kids like have to go to school and all of these things, it was, but like, luckily it was Thanksgiving break, and then also that was also very, like, I was like, what's gonna happen? Like, I don't want to spend Thanksgiving without Shalom, and then I don't want to leave Shalom here for Thanksgiving. Like, it was so bad, you guys. But I was worried, you know, about his health. That was my #1 priority, and is. So I explained to her everything. I said, you know, what parental plans do you guys offer? Since he says he's going to be admitted, and I didn't know how long he was going to be there. So you know, when they're emaciated, my friend Kelly had told me that it could take weeks of being on nutrition support. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, she said it works wonders. It works really, really well. So I'm like, okay, they're gonna have him hooked up, and you know, he's gonna get all the nutrition that he needs, and you know, through the IV and all that stuff. And then she answers me, she's like, I'm not sure about all that. Let me talk to them, and then I'm gonna get back to you with that. And I said, okay, you know, whatever. So then I never saw her again. I remember at one point Shalom fell asleep, so I was aggravated by the beeping noise, because you know, like, that noise is like beeping and over and over and over. Because I guess he moved his arm when he was like going to sleep, but like that thing beeps for anything. So I called and I said, hey, can you guys come and put the volume down and shut it off, and then put the volume down. And I let 30 minutes go by and nobody came. So then again, I called the nurse again and I said, hey, I called 30 minutes ago for the noise and still no one came. She's like, okay, I'll remind the nurse. Okay, I'm like, okay. Again, she never came. I was already angry because Shalom was asleep. I wanted him to be able to sleep. He hasn't slept. You know, like obviously they're coming in and out so much, like he hasn't slept. So can you please just shut the beeping noise, you know? So at this point, I'm like, okay, even if he was to be admitted, my child is not staying here without me at all. Because if you can't come over here and turn off this beeping noise, what makes me feel comfortable enough that when I'm not here, who's gonna watch him? Because you can't even come here while I am here and to turn off the beeping noise, right? So basically, that's what happened. And, you know, he's not gonna get the attention that he needs. So that's kind of like what was going on. And I was like, no way in the world. Like, I'm gonna be here until we're not here anymore. So, and the thing was that I was really uncomfortable on the ER floor as far as like no space or anything like that. But at least they were on it. Like they were on it. Like really like over and over and over checking everything, doing tests. I would not get a break. If I was on the phone, I had to hang up right away because a new person was coming in. When I went upstairs, it's like I never saw anybody. Like I saw that one nurse at the beginning. And then I saw somebody else, the same lady that was doing the CT scans, or the x-rays, I'm sorry. I saw her, she came upstairs this time, and that was it. So then next thing you know, I finally see a doctor, and the doctor walked in, and then she begins to say that they need just one more x-ray. She says to me like, okay, we just need one more x-ray and everything looks better. Each x-ray as they come by looks better and better and better. And I was like, oh, okay, great. You know, like the x-rays look good. He's getting better. Like, you know, he's on whatever nutrition support, all that stuff. And so they're like, okay, so what? Now that everything's getting better, you know, we're gonna go ahead and discharge you. So after the x-ray that he's gonna get in the next hour, we'll discharge you. So I was like, okay, that's fine. The x-rays look good. I see the lady that comes and does the x-rays, and she comes and I was like, oh my god, I'm so happy to see you. And she's like, oh really? And I was like, yeah, they told me that every time like the x-ray comes by, like you already did, like I know it's been like 5, 6 maybe of them. And so she says that they look better each time, so now they're gonna discharge me after you give them the results for this one. And I read it all through her face, and then she's like, really? Oh, they told you that? And I was like, yeah. So I kind of like look at her like, okay, like, you know, I look kind of confused. So then she's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, the doctor's gonna come and talk to you. They'll come and talk to you. And I was like, okay. So you're clearly telling me that something's not adding up, you know? So I'm putting 2 and 2 together, and I'm like, something's not right. You know, next thing you know, when the doctor walks in, she said that a GI specialist is going to contact me now, and now he's just going to be treating me as an outpatient. When I found out everything, nothing was getting better. Nothing had gotten better. They had admitted him. He was on some sort of nutrition support. They just told me to continue to do Pediasure like I was already doing, to continue doing everything that I was doing. So I didn't agree with them discharging him. And I feel like they discharged me because of my situation. So it's like, okay, we can't watch him, so he can go home. So I didn't agree with it, but what can I do? Like go and fight everybody and force them to keep me here, keep him here? But then again, like, you know, so it was really aggravating, and just me telling the story is aggravating still, you know. So I feel like they discharged me because, I know that they discharged me because the way that everybody reacted when I asked what kind of parental plan we can come up with for him, because I have other children. and I need to tend to everybody, right? Their plan was, okay, we're gonna treat her as an outpatient, and we're gonna go home. He's gonna go home, and I'm gonna now continue treatment with the GI doctor. So I'm like, okay, fine. Okay, the lady left. I was then discharged, right, that night. And I went home, you know, and I was just sitting there thinking, and I'm like, my son is not absorbing any nutrients. He's emaciated. His organs are all over the place due to his enlarged stomach. He's like, they told me that his glucose was a little low, but then like I talked to Kelly, and basically she shows me what the glucose is supposed to be for a child. So at this point my son is anemic, and they never said he was anemic. So he can fall out at any given moment, right? And I would never know. He is in a ton of pain. What about if his stomach gets distended overnight and his oxygen is low and we don't catch it in time? Like, this is not okay at all. So I am his voice, you know, and I feel like they were totally being dismissive towards the situation because he's autistic, since he's masking his pain, and everything else that's going on. It's like, just, I don't know, it's just like so unfair. Like, so since he's not screaming and crying and going crazy and all that kind of stuff, would you guys have then maybe been more like, I understand. One thing I can say is that they did all the tests that they can possibly do, but you know, there were some things that weren't told to me all the way. So if I didn't have the resources, or my best friend being whatever she is, telling me the stuff, and then researching certain things, and then thinking about everything all together, like, this is just unfair, you know? So I feel like they're totally being dismissive about the whole entire situation. What is the point of being in the medical field if when things get too rough and things get too crazy for your liking, you're just gonna turn a blind eye? This is just not right. And like, come on, like, use your freaking medical license, people. Like, seriously, like, do better, you know? It's just, I don't know. I feel like this is one of the main reasons why I wanted to make this video. I feel like I need to be an advocate for children that have autism, or that are autistic, and that can't express themselves as well. I feel like they don't get the attention that they deserve because they are autistic. And would the situation have gone differently if he was crying and he was expressing himself and saying how much it hurts, like how much in pain he is, right? Maybe, maybe not, I don't know, but I feel like it's necessary for me to make this video. All I can say about all of this, you guys, is that we are so blessed and lucky that Shalom is still here and he has stayed strong for this long, because the fact that he has been in pain and like his body is doing whatever it's doing, we're lucky that our baby is still alive, to be honest, because he could have fallen out at any moment. Anything could happen. And honestly, like, he's just such a fighter, and I'm still in shock. And I have came home, and obviously I'm home, and I'm so paranoid because his room is above mine, but if I hear a loud noise, I'm like, oh my god, you know, like he fell out or something, and I can't see him through the camera correctly, right? So I'm like terrified of that. Then if I don't hear any noise, it's like, why isn't he making any noise? So I'm extremely like, what in the world is happening, you know? We're home, and I have made multiple appointments already. I already saw the pediatrician, right, like I think it was like the day after I came home. We did get to spend Thanksgiving together, so that's why I've been dedicating I didn't do the video till now, because I wanted to dedicate like all the attention to our house, and also process everything as well, because it's a lot of information. But I already made multiple appointments. I just came earlier today from his endoscopy, which I also will put a little video of him in his endoscopy as well.
And the coughing is normal.
Okay.
With this scope, it can be irritating. Oh, it's this wire in this base.
They did an upper endoscopy to check. They said that a lot of the labs we are not getting yet. So we're still waiting. It's a waiting game still for a lot of the labs, diseases and illnesses or whatever the case may be. Like all of that we're still waiting for. Still no answers. So yeah, they did the endoscopy today. They put him again, another IV. They put him to sleep. They're checking his whole entire GI system. And guys, this doesn't take away the fact that, you know, we're home and we are still in the same position where we started. You know, nothing has changed. There's nothing that has been done to change anything. And I just feel like this is the beginning of like a really long road. But I'm going to do whatever it takes, and whatever it is that how to get him right, I'm gonna do whatever it is that I need to do. After all of this, you guys, I told my pediatrician that I need her to send a referral to the surgeons from where he was born. That hospital is top 3 in the country for gastroschisis. That's where it all began, and I just feel like logically that just makes the most sense to just go back to where it all started. And I just really hope that they can give me some answers, you guys. Like that's just what I'm hoping for, that they can help me out with this situation. You know, in a dream world, I would love for him to not have anything going on with him, obviously, but I'm talking about like no illnesses, autoimmune diseases, etc., cancer, anything like that. And what I would prefer is for them to basically do what is called a post-gastric repair surgery, which is where something is going on after gastroschisis and they open him back up and they fix the issue. So that's what I would like for them to do, and just, you know, them and him be back to normal, you know, like have a normal sized stomach, have his organs where they need to be. Like that's just my wish. That's my biggest wish. You guys, again, my baby is 4 years old, and guys, like I can't help but just sit there and think like he's 4 years old, and you know, he's supposed to be playing at home with his toys and watching his favorite shows and his little movies and playing with his siblings, autistic or not. You know, this is not what a 4-year-old should be living, and it crushes my soul to witness all of this. This is just not living. This is not it. It's not, like, you know, like, and it just saddens me, like even him like having to be connected to all of these cords and all kinds of stuff. And even it makes me even angry when I see him getting used to these, like the NG tube and the IV, and knowing that they call this thing it's like a little casting so they won't touch the IV, a little no-no, and him having these things on and him feeling comfortable, like at one point just getting used to it because it is what it is. Like, no, like this is not what he's supposed to be living. I feel like I'm living this nightmare, and it's not going anywhere, and I'm just like waiting and waiting to see like what happens next. And I just want this to all be over and him to be healthy. And like I said, I just want to thank everyone that supports us and that loves and cares for us, and that has been praying for Shalom, has been praying for all of us in our household. Again, this is my baby's story. I'm going to continue to give you guys updates, and like I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get him where he needs to be, get him healthy, and, you know, I feel like I'm living this nightmare, and it's not going anywhere, and I'm just like waiting and waiting and waiting to see like what happens next. And I just want this to all be over and him to be healthy. And like I said, I just want to thank everyone that supports us and that loves and cares for us, and that has been praying for Shalom, has been praying for all of us in our household. Again, this is my baby's story. I'm going to continue to give you guys updates, and like I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get him where he needs to be, get him healthy. And you know, I don't know guys, it's just I'm doing whatever it is that I can do. That's all I can do, you know. And I apologize for the long video. I was not kidding when I said it was a lot of information and it was very complicated. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if there's anything helpful that you guys, any information that might be helpful for us, don't hesitate to comment down below. I also appreciate the prayers and the phone calls and the text messages. I do, even if I can't get back to you. It's just been a lot on me. Thank you guys again, and thank you for the ones that are tuning in, and take care, you guys. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.